How do you like this thing? It's a double neck. I just brought it out because it's fun. You don't play it any differently. You play the same way, but it's got two necks. One is a regular ukulele, and this one is basically a regular ukulele, except for that each of the strings is doubled. So it's got 8 strings, but each one is doubled. So the G here, there's also a G here, but it's lower and a higher. But they're both G's. This is a C. This is both C's in different octaves. E, that's all 3 the same. And then A, it's a lot more work to keep it in tune. You've got 12 strings to tune. But speaking of tuning, when you try and tune your ukulele, have you noticed how you tune it and it's perfect? You play for 10 seconds and it's out of tune again? That's not the ukulele, it's not you. That's because the strings are new. Remember that you have to tune that thing constantly for the first few days because that's what new strings do. They haven't been stretched out yet. So the best way to get that to happen more quickly is to play a lot more and play hard. Go ahead and be rough. Bang around on that thing because that'll stretch the strings. You can yank on them. I've already talked about that in my tuning video, but now you've probably experienced it by this point. It's not you and it's not the ukulele. It's just how it happens. No matter who you are, when you change strings, you have to stretch them out. On an ukulele, you might change your strings maybe once a year, maybe even longer. I know people that have gone longer than that. I change my strings maybe every couple of months, 2-3 months, and that's because I play every day and I'm going on the road and doing constant shows, so I change them every 2 or 3 months, and that's more than most people that I know. So you may not have to change your strings for a year or two. It's really easy if you ever have to change your strings. Just go online and look at YouTube. You'll find a million tutorials. But now back to this lesson, which is about right hand and left hand techniques, or strumming hand, fretting hand. If you're a lefty, everything's inverted, so I'll refer to them as strumming hand and fretting hand. But first, let me show you what these two necks sound like. One with 4 strings, one with 8 strings. Here's a C on a regular ukulele. Same chord on an 8 string. A lot fuller, a lot more resonant. You're not going to get one of these probably. I just want you to know it exists because there are a lot of cool things that exist that you might not hear about, especially in a beginner course. So hey, now you know there's a double neck and also an 8 string. There's also a 6 string, and you play them all the same way. It's just a matter of more strings. So there's a little bit of a different technique in your right hand, but basically the chords and all the basic principles are identical. For your strumming hand, go down as opposed to out, because then you're going to hit all the strings. But you'll find that when you do that, you tend to rub your cuticle on the strings, and in about 10 seconds, you're going to get some sore, bloody little cuticles, and it's kind of, but that's because you haven't refined your technique yet. But it's going to happen. So a good idea, at least what I do, grow your fingernail long on this hand. Just your index finger, just doing that one finger will be a big help. Because then you can move your finger a little bit farther away from the strings and you won't drag your finger down and rub all the skin right there. Actually, what I do is I get acrylic nails put on these 4 fingers because I play a lot of flamenco and I play really hard and I'm really rough on my instruments. And before I did that, I would get all kinds of little skin abrasions and stuff that always hurt. So then I got the idea of putting on the acrylic nails, and now I can do whatever I want and it doesn't hurt. If you've already got long nails, perfect. You are going to scratch the nail polish off, but it's the way it goes. This hand has to be short. This one can be long. My pinky I keep short because I tend to brace my hand like that, resting it on the instrument to give my hand some stability. So I have my pinky down there, and this is optional. It's just a personal thing that I do. It's not necessarily what anyone else does, but I do it. So you rest that there. Of course, that's when I'm playing picking stuff. If I'm just strumming like you're probably doing as a beginner, you wouldn't do that probably. You just go up here. And remember, relaxed and gentle. And don't move your whole arm and your shoulder and everything because that's exhausting. The only part you're moving is this. In a very gentle Rose Parade wave. Hello, I'm the Rose Parade King. And my hand is not down like that. It's sort of flipped out, so the back of my hand is kind of facing out a little bit that way, but whatever's comfortable for you, because that's most important, is to do what's comfortable for you so you don't get sore wrists. And like I said, around where the neck and the body meet, something like that. That's for a basic strum. You can strum with your thumb, the pad of your thumb. You'll hear that it's a lot softer and more of a muted sound. You might like that. Some people take their fingers and they curl it around there, and they do that. I don't usually do that, but it's a good way. But if you want to go up and down, so you're not just doing the same old beginner strum, 2, 3, 4, that gets dull after a while. You go down and up with your index finger. And by the way, if you want to know a lot more stuff, more detailed things on anything from this course, just look me up online, because I have, I don't know how many billions of videos, instructional things all over the internet. YouTube, I have a Patreon, my website, Bartt.net. I'm everywhere. I'm easy to find. Bartt with 2 T's. I'm the only one. Ukulele Bartt or Bartt Warburton, take your pick. Just look me up. If you put the word Bartt and ukulele, you'll get 10 million sites about me. So it'd be easy to find all kinds of detailed instruction about whatever you want. I'm sure I've got it covered sometime. You can do down or up strums. And the way you signify it, whether it's a down or an up strum, usually in written things like charts, arrows. Arrow up, arrow down, strum down. And in the beginner book that is attached to this course, I have a detailed lesson about strumming and how to write them and how to practice them. There are exercises, so just dig around and you'll find that. So I won't go into it here because I've already got it in another section. Right hand techniques, bracing your pinky, going up and down, and go on a little bit below. You know, you can drop down. Don't go right here and stay right close to the neck, because then you're going to tense up, and tension is a bad thing in music, especially in ukulele. Don't play with tension in your right or your strumming hand. You'll just get sore in here, and soreness makes you not want to play. I'm rotating it like this. Ding, 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 ding. And it's important. Do it that way. So look, if I'll do it again, look at my arm here. There's very little movement. Of course, it has to rotate a little bit, but there's not a whole lot of movement. My elbow is staying still. And the only part of me that's moving is my forearm, specifically from the wrist up. Practice that. You can check out your fingernails. I call it the nail polish check, because when you do that, if your hand is up in the position where your fingernails are facing your eyes, you've done it right, because then you're doing a full strum. If you do it like this, sometimes that works too, but it's better to practice, I think anyway, a full strum, because then it's flowing. And don't start right at the string. Start up here a little bit. It just gives it a more full flow, and it's also easier to keep your time and your rhythm. When you're close like that, you get tense. And breathe too. This is really common. Even me, after playing all these years, I find myself doing it. Holding my breath when I'm doing something complicated. And then at the end of it, and that's terrible, because you run out of breath, you're not going to be able to finish playing, and plus it's uncomfortable. So practice playing slowly, relaxed. Good posture is important because it helps you breathe in a more relaxed way. And so I guess what it's all about is relaxing, and don't tense your muscles in your strumming hand.